Hi there. Welcome to Anonymity 1D. My name is Dave. I have been living with type 1 diabetes for many years.
Hi, my name is Ginger Vieira. I've lived with type 1 diabetes for 25 years. Living with T1D isn't easy, but the more we learn about the science of our body and insulin, the more we can do whatever we want to do in life, including exercise. In this video, we're going to talk all about the things you need to know to manage your blood sugar safely while exercising with T1D.
This is just one video in a series of videos. Please remember that this is for educational purposes only and is not meant to replace your doctor or care team. Hi, Ginger. So nice to see you after all this time. How have you been? What brings you to town?
Hi, Dave. Oh, I'm doing great. Life has been really busy lately with all my dogs and my kids and fun diabetes work and, of course, managing diabetes. I wanted to stop by and say hello. How has life with diabetes been going for you lately?
Life is good, but I'm not enjoying CrossFit as much. It causes so many swings in my sugars. I am either treating for lows or taking extra insulin. All those extra carbs are affecting my muscle mass. It is just frustrating. I might just stop and start something less intense, like running.
Oh no, don't quit. I have met a lot of people with diabetes who feel this way about exercising, but you don't have to stop. Instead, learning just a little bit more about the science of exercise and insulin can help you enjoy your next workout. Insulin is really complicated. Exercise science is complicated too. Then you add a few dozen other factors that affect blood sugar levels, and it feels like an overwhelming mess. But we can simplify this with a little bit of knowledge, I promise. Unfortunately, if you're only relying on what your healthcare team told you to do, you might be pretty frustrated. They can help you get started, but there's more to learn. Eventually, you'll understand all the factors that affect your blood sugar and how to adjust your insulin and food timing so your blood sugar isn't too high or too low every time you exercise.
Wow, so you exercise without going low?
Yeah, all the time. In fact, most mornings, I walk my dogs for an hour, then I jump rope for 30 minutes, and I don't eat any extra carbohydrates for this exercise. And I don't go low. And that's first thing in the morning before eating breakfast. I can create the same safe environment for exercise later in the day, too.
Wow, how is that possible?
It's all about understanding the relationship between exercise, food, and insulin.
That is so encouraging. Can you please explain to me some of the factors that can affect exercise?
Sure. Actually, I think of it as the three biggest factors that can affect exercise. Number one, the type of exercise you're doing. See, anaerobic exercise like sprinting or lifting weights can actually spike your blood sugar. But aerobic exercise like jogging or walking or swimming can cause your blood sugar to drop. Then there's number two, insulin on board. This is all about how much rapid-acting or long-acting insulin you have active in your system when you exercise. Depending on whether you take injections or you're using a pump, there are different approaches you need to take to plan your exercise around your insulin on board. And number three is the last time you ate and how much insulin you took for that meal. Like if you eat in the hours before exercising and you take insulin for that meal, you'll have a lot of insulin on board during your exercise. This means you run the risk of going low. Learning how to time your meal and your insulin based on your exercise plans can make it much easier to prevent lows and highs during exercise. Or learning how to adjust the dose for your meal if you plan to exercise right after eating. But there are a few other factors like dawn phenomenon. This is that spike in your blood sugar around 3 to 5 a.m., and it can make morning exercise a little tricky if you're taking a big dose of insulin to prevent that dawn phenomenon spike. Also, feet on the floor syndrome. Some people see their blood sugar start to spike as soon as they wake up in the morning. This happens to me too. Sometimes I need a very tiny bolus of rapid acting insulin to prevent that big spike. But I keep that bolus very small because I know I'm about to walk my dogs. Aerobic exercise would drop my blood sugar if I had too much rapid acting insulin on board. And coffee. Did you know caffeine can spike your blood sugar? Caffeine actually tells your liver to release stored sugar. If you tend to drink a big cup of coffee in the morning and you want to exercise, you'll have to juggle the bolus of insulin you take for your coffee if you don't want your blood sugar to be super high by the end of your workout. And lastly, skipping breakfast. If you skip breakfast and you exercise around that time in the morning, the fasting can actually cause a big spike in your blood sugar. Basically, your liver is like, okay, if you're not going to eat breakfast, I'm going to release a bunch of stored sugar to give you fuel, and that stored sugar will spike your blood sugar.
I didn't realize so much can affect exercise. It does make sense, though.
It can help to think about it step by step. Let's talk about exercise first, so CrossFit will make more sense to you when you're trying to manage your blood sugar. Okay, so remember I said there are two kinds of exercise, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic exercise is also known as cardio, and it's an activity you can perform for an extended period of time without stopping. During aerobic exercise, like a jog or a power walk, your heart rate is still low enough that your body is able to cycle oxygen to your fat cells to burn for fuel. Or if there's plenty of insulin on board, your source of fuel will likely be the glucose in your bloodstream. Aerobic exercise actually increases how quickly insulin picks up glucose and carries it to the cells throughout your body, because your cells demand more glucose to keep your body moving and performing. Naturally, the human body would dramatically reduce insulin production to prevent low blood sugar. Of course, as a person with T1D, that whole system is squashed. This means aerobic exercise can cause fast, dramatic drops in your blood sugar if you have enough insulin on board. You can actually significantly reduce how much glucose aerobic exercise uses for fuel by carefully timing your workouts to avoid excess insulin on board. We'll discuss this more soon. Now, anaerobic exercise, on the other hand, includes activities like CrossFit, HIIT, sprints, weightlifting. Anaerobic exercise is an activity that's usually performed at an intensity that you can only sustain for a few minutes at most. Then you take a break, like anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Then you perform another round, and so on. Your heart rate during anaerobic exercise is so high that your body must use glucose for fuel by converting stored glucose, glycogen, in your muscle tissue and lactic acid into glucose. That glucose is then cycled back to your muscles for fuel with a little help from insulin. For some types of anaerobic exercise, the insulin from your basal rate dose might be plenty. For some intense anaerobic exercise, you might actually need more insulin to manage that extra glucose. We'll talk about this a lot, promise. After anaerobic exercise, your liver might even release more stored glucose to help replenish the glucose stores in your muscles with a little help from insulin. Of course, if you have T1D, you're not producing the insulin needed to manage that extra glucose from your liver. This means anaerobic exercise can easily lead to high blood sugars during or after your workout. Many of us need a bolus of insulin during or after anaerobic exercise to manage that extra liver glucose, and it's totally normal.
Wow, that's a lot going on. I also read that after anaerobic exercise, the lactic acid in the muscle makes its way to the liver and gets converted to glucose. This also contributes to high blood sugars after anaerobic exercise. I did not know different kinds of exercise had such a different impact on blood sugars. I have noticed some of this but did not connect the dots and notice a trend.
Yeah, connecting those dots can be overwhelming, especially then when you have mixed exercise, which is a combination of aerobic and anaerobic exercise. Then you have game days and competitions where the excitement and stress adds a totally different angle to everything that's going on. Adrenaline during an intense soccer game can cause a big spike in your blood sugar.
Wow, Ginger, that's a lot. Let me see if I got it so far. There are a few main factors that can affect blood sugars during exercise. The type of exercise, the insulin on board, the last time I ate, and how much insulin I took for that meal. There are other factors too, like dawn phenomenon, feet on the floor phenomenon, whether I had coffee, whether I ate breakfast, etc. Aerobic exercise mostly causes low blood sugars during or after exercise, whereas anaerobic exercise can cause high blood sugars during and after. Then there's mixed exercise, which is a combination of aerobic and anaerobic exercise, not to mention competitions and game days, where adrenaline can cause high sugars too. With so much to think about, how do I know how to manage my sugars during exercise?
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, but that's why we're going to take it step by step. We started with the biggest factors that affect your blood sugar during exercise, and then we explained the two different types of exercise. We're going to get into the other factors next.
Ginger, this is extremely important. If you have time, can I arrange for you to meet with some of my friends in the community who also have T1D? This would be so helpful for them too.
Sure, I'd love to meet your friends.
I hope this gave you a better understanding of how different types of exercise can affect your blood sugars differently. There is so much more to blood sugar management during exercise. We will be covering that with Ginger throughout this playlist. Please remember that this is for educational purposes only and is not meant to replace your doctor or care team. Thank you.